Good morning, everybody. I'm David Longnecker. I'm with the CTAC, the Coalition to Transform Advanced Care. And I must say, not only the Pete Seeger piece by Judy, but it seems like everybody is focusing on this issue today. I don't know how many of you heard Garrison Keillor this morning, but he described the death of Chekhov. Apparently it's Chekhov's birthday, I believe. And he described the death of Chekhov, who was a physician who had tuberculosis and ischemic heart disease. And apparently the treatment in Russia at the time of his death for those conditions involved champagne. And they describe him, he was described as lying in his bed with his physician there, and offering him a couple glasses of champagne, and after the second glass, he rolled over, closed his eyes, and died. And I thought, include me, you know, what a great story, but it's highly appropriate for today. Just a quick note, because I talked to a couple people this morning that didn't know what CTAC was, and so what is this thing that we're trying to do? Just a quick comment about it. CTAC has 110 members, and it's member organizations, and its vision is that all Americans with advanced illness, especially the sickest and most vulnerable, will receive comprehensive, high-quality, person and family-centered care that's consistent with their goals and values their honors and dignity. That's what brought me to become involved with CTAC. I'm a physician, I'm an anesthesiologist who is, because of our work in both pain medicine and critical care medicine, I began to see what was emerging and needed in this country long after most of you did, but probably about 20 years ago when I was the genesis for the launching of the palliative care program at the University of Pennsylvania. So I'm deeply committed to what we are doing here, and this opportunity with CTAC gave me a chance to get a bit more of a national stage, including the audience we have here. Well, what are some of the perceived problems? I think Charlie summarized them very well, and my list, though, included a couple points for emphasis. We just talked about, Dr. Wenger, about the metrics. I'll skip that. But I still think there's a great emphasis on treating and not on caring. And we have a lot of work to do in healthcare in that area. And there's a strong feeling, I believe, that there have been inadequate efforts in medical schools and residency training programs in training physicians and in making physicians more aware of these issues. There's also the question about a shortage of palliative care physicians. And my personal thought in that latter area is that that shortage will never be solved. Cannot be solved by palliative care physicians. They can contribute and train and be role models for others, but this has to be something that goes across medical care and especially across health care in general. We need primary care physicians, anesthesiologists, pediatricians, cardiologists. The process of palliative care needs to be embedded throughout health care. It can't be solved by a specific medical discipline. Well, what are some of the realities? Despite our perceptions, what do doctors think? And let me preface that for just a moment for so many of you in the room who may be concerned when I say that I'm being physician-centric. I worked elbow to elbow with nurse anesthetists for 40 years and had wonderful relationships and still have huge regard for and believe very strongly in team-based care delivery. But we also have to consider where is the medical profession in all this, and because I hear often that some of the barriers are that doctors don't want to change in this. I hear it very commonly. I've heard it this morning here. So I thought I'd just share with you The work that the Cambia Foundation had done in 2011, where they did a national survey of 500 physicians that was tiered to get various levels of background, experience, training, et cetera, from around the country. Here's some just quick points. 96% of these physicians believe that quality of life is more important than prolonging life. 95% believe that patients should be allowed to choose treatment that aligns with their goals. 96% believe that the healthcare system should place a higher priority on palliative care. Interestingly enough, when asked who does this sort of work well, they rated other physicians. 49% of them said they thought physicians did it well, but 63% of them thought that nurses did it better. They identified a number of barriers, including a lack of preparation on their own part for counseling patients. Obviously spoke about the reimbursement issues associated with it. And 67% said that patients were ill-informed about their care options. Well, parenthetically, I thought who's going to inform them, but in any event, those were some of the barriers. So it looks like we have a population that's ripe for some sort of action. But let me also point out, by the way, that a lot of physicians don't know much of anything about palliative care. What came from this, you find that under age 40, 3/4 of them, 73%, felt that they'd had good exposure of some type to the concepts of end-of-life and palliative care as part of their medical education. But those, and it goes down fewer and fewer by age, and those over age 60, only 6% had had any exposure to that kind of training in the course of their education. So what is CTAC attempting to do to address some of these issues? We have two major initiatives that we hope will, working with all of you, help move these issues forward for solutions. And those two approaches are an advanced care project and an informed decision-making project. The Advanced Care Project is co-led with our colleagues in the AHIP Foundation, and it emphasizes coordinated, person-centered, team-based care that's delivered in the most appropriate setting. Good examples, those of you familiar with the work that Sutter Health has done in the past, it's a good example of the kind of work that we're attempting to promote and build and actually launch as examples for others for us to learn from, but also for others to follow. And the second is an informed decision-making project. And this is founded on the principle that advanced care management is based on persons' wants and needs and values. And this particular effort is supported by our colleagues in the advisory board who are donating pro bono close to $100,000 worth of effort to work with us on identifying approaches, tools, techniques, and exploring attitudes among caregivers and among physicians and among health systems, so that we can determine which are the best options to launch along with that advanced care planning model. And together, informed decision-making and advanced care planning model, we think can be examples of what we need to do in healthcare in this country. And we look forward to partnering with all of you as we go along this journey, which we don't believe can wait. It has to go now. Thank you.